Please join me in welcoming the founder of Brightfields, Faten, Ayach.
Let's make a night you won't remember. I'll be the one.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. How's the energy? Woo, outstanding, yes. So I want to start by asking you a question. When was the last time you felt safe at work? I'm not talking physically safe, I'm talking emotionally safe. Safe in as to ask a question that challenges the norm, or safe to maybe even admit a mistake or a misjudgment when especially stakes are high. I believe not many people would remember that clearly because we spend a lot of time at work pretending. Pretending we're fine, pretending we're confident, yet leadership was never about pretending. Leadership at its core is about connection. The world around us has changed, yet the way many leaders lead hasn't evolved as much. So maybe it's time to stop learning about leadership and start unlearning the myths that keep us from leading with humanity and keeping the human at the center. And that's what we will be doing today, and that's how the SOS model has been emerged. Just like the universal call for action, to reimagine leadership, this model was born out of urgency. Urgency to reimagine leadership in a world where people do not feel safe, they aren't seen or heard. And I'll start with the first S, which is safety. And the first myth that we need to unlearn today is that safety is the absence of threat. And what we need to learn is that safety is the presence of connection. Safety is never about the absence of threat, it is the presence of connection. And now, psychological safety has been a buzzword. It's in every leadership program, in every HR conversation, and every company value statement. Right? But do people feel safe? The answer is unfortunately not. Because what really threatens us is not physical anymore. We're not in a war zone in the office. There's no threat. What really threatens us is emotional. It's that fear of failure or that fear of being judged. And that fear, unfortunately, is making sure that every great idea is silenced and is located in the graveyard right now. So in order to reimagine leadership, we need to create that safe place through connection. And it doesn't have to be magic or major. It has to be in small moments when leaders actually really admit that they don't have all the answers and they invite others to think with them. When leaders really answers bad news through maybe, curiosity versus blaming, and when leaders actually find time to see the person behind the role. That's when safety doesn't become a policy and it becomes a culture. And that's the first S in our leadership model that's been created and trademarked by Brightfields. Next is the O, which is ownership. And the second myth that we need to learn is that leadership is about controlling the triggers. And the truth is, leadership is about taking ownership of what's within us. And I'll prove to you now that leadership is never about the triggers. We've been told, that great leaders they are not pressured, they stay calm under pressure, they're not triggered, and they don't show emotions. And the reality is never about the trigger, it's about holding what's within us. And I'll prove to you now that the trigger is not the thing, because I want you to look at any weapon, a gun, a small gun, or whatever. And if you look at the trigger compared to this whole gun, you'll see it's a tiny part, right? Yet we spend our whole life looking at what he said and what she said and what triggered us, forgetting to take ownership and to have that U-turn to look what's within us, the explosives, the ammunition that we are holding within ourselves. So if I tell now anyone today, you have green hair, they will not be triggered. They will look at me like, this woman is crazy, or maybe she needs glasses. They know wholeheartedly they don't have green hair, so they're not triggered. But if I tell someone today that you asked a stupid question, and if they had 1% trigger, 1% doubt about their intelligence, or forget about 1%, 0.1% doubt about their intelligence, that's when they will get triggered. So in order for us to really reimagine leadership, let's stop looking at triggers and let's start looking at what's within us. Because when we do that, we stop blaming, we stop projecting, and we start growing. And the final S in that SOS model is seeing everyone as a star. Because the myth is only few people are stars, only few people are high achievers, high potential, yet the reality is everyone is a star, and leaders are there to help people shine. Einstein said, everybody is a genius. Yet, if we judge a fish for not being able to climb a tree, it will think its whole life it's stupid. So, as coaches, we always say, every person is resourceful, creative, and whole. We've got all the resources within us. We've all got strengths. And correct me if I'm wrong, how many times we face things and we say like, oh my God, I don't know what to do if this thing happens. And then when this thing happens, we always find ways. So we've got the resources within us. We've got that strength within us. And my questions for you to reflect on this morning is, what are your top 5 strengths? What's the strength, and that's my favorite question, by the way, what's the strength that you have if you used it a bit more, like increase the volume on it, it would be a game changer for you to overcome the challenge that you have right now. So think about what's the strength you have that only if you used it a bit more, it would be a game changer. And then, as I wrap this quick talk about this SOS leadership model, I want to first of all to tell you that if we were really to reimagine leadership, first we need to have the courage to unlearn that silence is safety and replace it with connection. Unlearn the myth that leadership is about controlling the triggers and replace it with owning what's within us, and replace the myth that says few people are stars and say everyone is a star. Because the world now needs more than ever people, leaders who really create safety through connection, who really take ownership of their inner world, and who see everyone as a star. And recently, I started working on the workbook that has lots of applications and implications of what this SOS model is all about. So if you want to be the first person to see, I urge you please to scan this QR code, because this workbook will include all the activities and the application of this SOS model. So maybe next time I ask you, when was the last time you felt safe? Maybe it will start today, and it will start by you. Thank you so much. Thank you.